Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Vance YouTube channel. New haircut, who dis? We're back with a continued series which takes me a while to make the videos, so I'm so sorry, but we've made a ranking Misfits 1, we've made a ranking Misfits 2, we've made a ranking Misfits 3, where we go through all the fights, we give the fights a rating, and we rate them from top to bottom. In this one, we're ranking Misfits X Series 4, from top to bottom, worst fights to best fights. Let's dive right in. Coming in at number 7, there were 7 fights on this card. We had Swarms versus Ryan Taylor. Swarms was coming right off the back of losing to KSI, where he had to drop a certain amount of weight in short notice, on 2 weeks short notice, and his first ever fight against KSI obviously got destroyed. Then, Misfits X Series 2, Swarms was meant to fight Kristen Hanby. It never happened because Swarms said he wasn't ready, he wanted to be more prepared, because he'd already experienced embarrassment and loss and got humbled in his first fight. On that same card, though, Ryan Taylor was fighting Slim, got destroyed by Slim, but he went the whole round and he proved to be a dog. Ryan Taylor, being the friend of Kristen Hanby, being called out by Swarms, they both agreed to fight. The fight had a lot of hype and a lot of beef, but as the fight started, and it lasted 10 seconds. It lasted 10 seconds because both men went to engage, and Swarms stuck his hand out for a jab, clearly showing that he's learned a bit of boxing. The jab caught Ryan Taylor right on the eye and didn't really hurt him, I don't think, but it did cause some orbital damage, so there was some eye issues, and it obviously did something internally to his eye, and he could not see out the eye. He spent ages in the corner discussing it with his coach and the referee. Referee called it off, said no, you can't see, that's it. Now, although that's cool for Swarms, it's not really, because he didn't go down, didn't get knocked out, didn't last forever, the rematch never happened. It was very short. Although it was something spicy, it was very short, and it just kind of robbed us of kind of a beefy, probably scrappy fight. So, of course I have to give that fight a 2 out of 10. It lasted 10 seconds, there was one punch thrown, the finish wasn't clean, so 2 out of 10. But I always wanted to see the rematch. It was going to happen, and then it didn't. Coming in at number 6, we have the female fight. Elle Brooke versus Faith Ordway. I mean, coming into this, we've seen Elle Brooke before on Kingpin, and when you she had some decent skills. Faith Ordway we had not seen, but in the build-up to the fight, I'd seen Faith Ordway on the pads, and I thought she looked pretty good. So I thought Faith Ordway might have his chance. The fight started, and we expect to be technical, with Elle Brooke having experience and Faith Ordway looking quite clean on pads. No, it was a full-out scrap, both throwing at each other. Again, this fight lasted about 30 seconds. I mean, it looked like both women were landing equally, but Elle Brooke must have just landed a powerful shot, and it dropped Faith Ordway, and it was quite explosive, happened really quick, and Elle Brooke got the knockout stoppage. So decent win for Elle Brooke. Entertainment, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, because entertainment, knockout, decent, you know, for both of them. Poor showing from Faith Ordway, but obviously shouldn't have much chance to show what she had got in her locker. 6 out of 10, because obviously didn't last that long. Do you know what I mean? If that scrappiness hadn't gone a few more rounds, probably a lot better. But 6 out of 10. And for the 6th fight on the card, 6 out of 10 is a good sign. It's a very good sign. So yeah. Moving on to the 5th fight. Salt Papi, who had built a lot of hype, knocking out Andy Warski in 20 seconds, took on Josh Bruckner, who had obviously was shown to be quite technical and quite skilled. Former MMA fighter. He fought on KSI Logan Paul 2 card. He fought on the Misfits 3 card and destroyed Chase them all, made him look embarrassing. So it was quite hyped, because when you saw Papi had knockout power and he was a potential star, but he was immediately taking on a tough challenge at the time in Josh Bruckner, because Josh Bruckner was quite skilled and experienced. The fight had a solid first round of nothing but feints and a couple jabs and a couple quick feint serve 1s and 2s from Bruckner, just trying to get into range, which is completely stupid, because Bruckner's way taller, way longer reach. He could have kept Salt Papi at range, which is exactly where he should have kept Salt Papi, because as we know, Salt Papi has bombs for hands, so he definitely should have kept away from Papi, but he didn't. So in the second round, he made his way into range. Salt Papi, obviously being quite clever, saw him coming into range, knew he was going to come into range, read what he was doing throughout the rounds, and he caught him with a swift straight left, being a southpaw. Obviously he caught him with a straight swift left as he came in, knocked him straight down. First significant strike of the whole fight, put him down, and he didn't respond to the 10 count. He was on his knees, he could have stood up, but I feel like he was too hurt, too dazed from the shot, so he didn't get up, called the fight off. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but it was an impressive showing from Salt Papi, so I'm going to have to give that performance a 6.5 out of 10. Coming in at number 4, midway through the card, Pineda versus B-Dave. Originally on the card, FaZe Temper was going to take on a mystery opponent. FaZe Temper got called up to the main event, so B-Dave took his place. B-Dave was then going to fight the mystery opponent. The mystery opponent turned out to be Pineda, and one of the greatest comebacks ever. Happy to see Pineda after being one probably the first ever hated person in Misfits, because he had a horrible showing against KSI, but in all fairness, not on his level and short notice. But then they did the Undertaker music, and then they did the Mexican music, and everyone screamed, cheered, and Pineda came back and actually looked good. That was the good time they did the Undertaker entrance, and the only good time they've done the mystery opponents. Every other time it's not been good. Stop with the Undertaker music. It works once, not every time. So yeah, Pineda came back, got a good crowd reception. This is already adding to the entertainment of the fight. We're ranking these fights not just on skill, on performance, but also entertainment overall. We're just taking them all into consideration. So with a great cheer from the crowd, we expected, let's see how good of an opponent Pineda actually was for KSI as he takes on someone easier like B-Dave. B-Dave had won a fight before, not on Misfits, but he's won a fight before that. And we just want to see how good he was. And he came out and he was decent. He looked like a boxer who'd been training for not that long, but not quite novice level. But he was throwing jabs, he was throwing 1-2s, he was hitting them hard, he was walking them down, he was stepping back and dodging strikes. And yeah, he kind of destroyed B-Dave, and everyone was happy because they saw Pineda with some skill. And all it did was add to KSI's resume, because the two people he had destroyed on Misfits 1 on short notice, where people said easy fights, Swarm's got a one-punch knockout, and now Pineda is destroying an opponent, walked him down, even dropped him. The only issue with this fight was that Pineda didn't stop him, but the entertainment value, sheer performance from Pineda's best performance to date, had to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Had to give it a solid 7 out of 10. The fact B-Dave didn't give much back. B-Dave had a strong chin, and he did fight back, but he didn't give enough back. Kind of lowered it a bit, but 7 out of 10 performance. Oh my god, and that's all thanks to Pineda. All thanks to Pineda. Coming in at number 3, we have probably technically the most skilled fight on the card. Idris Virgo took on Anthony Taylor. At this point, Anthony Taylor had fought Tommy Fury, obviously lost. He went on Showstar, and he did that. He had a boxing match with Nello Fellow, and it turned out to be a spar, and everyone booed him, and it was a disgrace to the card. He fought Ryan Taylor on a dodgy Dubai card and got a draw, and we all know Anthony Taylor could destroy Ryan Taylor. Then he fought on Misfits 2, knocked down Ashley Raksu in 3 seconds and destroyed him in a fight. Returned to Misfits 4 to take on a highly skilled opponent, Idris Virgo, someone who, just like Tommy Fury, had a somewhat pro record and had been on Love Island. And it kind of made sense. He was in the camp of KSI, and KSI saying, you want to get to me, go through Idris Virgo. And obviously Anthony Taylor could not go through Idris Virgo. Idris Virgo destroyed him. Well, not necessarily destroyed him, but in terms of technically, it was a great fight, because Anthony Taylor kept trying to get into range and clinch with him, make it a dirty fight, and Idris Virgo did exactly what everyone who fights Anthony Taylor should do. Kept back, kept at range, used the jabs and the 1-2 to keep him out of close range. And he just kind of destroyed him. It came to a point where he dropped him a couple of times. I think one was obviously a bit of a dodgy one. He kind of pushed him a bit, but I think he did drop him fairly once. I can't really remember. It's been a while since I've watched a fight. That's how long it takes to make these videos. But because of technical ability, and it looked like a fight you would see on a professional boxing card, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, because it was quite entertaining. It had the crowd going. For the first fight out of the night, two people that aren't that well known, but very skilled in their departments. Decent fight. And it's not often you see someone beat Anthony Taylor. Well, it was then, not now. So, nice to see. 7.5 out of 10. I gave that performance. It's a shame Idris Virgo has only fell off from there, and Anthony Taylor's only got better. Coming in at number 2, I had Slim versus Tom Zanetti. Now, the reason I had this fight was Slim had a big record. He had 3 of his own fights on his own cards where he knocked people out. They weren't necessarily notable opponents. Then he stepped in on short notice to face FaZe Temper, someone who at the time looked good, who had beat King Kenny in their first fight. So I thought this could be a good fight for both men. Slim versus FaZe Temper, despite Slim already being 3-0, 3 knockouts, wasn't the favourite in the fight. Yet he came in there on short notice and knocked out FaZe Temper. Then on Misfits 2, he came in there, dropped Ryan Taylor and destroyed him. When they said Ryan Taylor's ruthless, Ryan Taylor could stop Slim. Slim went in there against Tom Zanetti, and Tom Zanetti was the one man Slim could not drop or knock out. Didn't knock him out, didn't even drop him. And that's why I credit Tom Zanetti. He's not a very good technical boxer, but he brought the fight to Slim. He was fearless. He didn't stop. He was like a repeated engine. Just kept coming, kept coming, kept putting the pressure on. Made the fight look even. Even though on technical ability, Slim was so much better. I think what won Slim the fight was cardio, because Slim kept a consistent pace the whole fight. Tom Zanetti used up all his energy in the first 2 rounds, and Slim, although looked slower than Tom Zanetti, by the end of the fight, Slim was not looking slower than Tom Zanetti, and he did destroy him, and he did hit many combinations and flurries. But I think Tom Zanetti also did that in the early round of the fight. It was very close. It shouldn't have been that close. I think if they ran that fight back now, I think Slim does a much better job against Zanetti. Probably drops him, maybe knocks him out. But Zanetti has a hell of a chin. Even though Zanetti quit against Jarvis, he never got dropped. So Slim versus Zanetti, incredible matchmaking. What a fight to watch. It's not like, there wasn't like a flashy knockout or flashy fight, but like, it was a great war to watch. It was just good to, when you talk about fight, that's what you expect. So I gave that one a 7.5 out of 10 as well. And coming in at number 1, I guess you can imagine what that number 1 is. It was the actual main event, KSI versus FaZe Temper. Now, KSI was meant to fight Dylan Dennis. Arguably, that would have been a better opponent skill-wise and probably more entertaining. But seeing how Dylan Dennis did against Logan Paul, maybe not the entertainment factor. And he maybe would have robbed KSI of the amazing moment he had this night, because FaZe Temper was meant to fight a mystery opponent. That mystery opponent would have turned out to be Pineda. That would have worsened Pineda's performance, and that would have probably been a better night for Temper. It would have been even maybe a slightly more boring fight. But KSI fought Temper nonetheless. I did think at the time Temper would have a bit of a chance against KSI, despite getting knocked out by Slim. I knew he had a bit of technical ability, and he had beaten King Kenny in his first fight. That was both their first fights though. But KSI kind of knew he would win. Did not know he'd win in this fashion though. We always saw KSI as a good boxer, but his knockouts against Joe Weller was just because Joe Weller wasn't doing anything back, and against Swarms and Pineda weren't the best opponents, so obviously they're going down, and it was short notice. This was also short notice, but it was about 2 weeks short notice. And, well, let's just say, at first KSI came out with this explosiveness, and Temper was catching him. He's catching him with the 1-2s, because KSI was coming in recklessly with his chin up, but he said he was willing to eat shots in order to give what he was going to get. And obviously no one knew what that meant, but now we did, because he came in with that karate stance, MVP style, swinging the arm, jumps in with the right hand, catches him on the chin, then the left hook comes up top, catches him right on the chin, he goes down. It didn't look like it hit him that hard, but it did, because he couldn't get up to his feet, and it was the most clean knockout I've ever seen. It took him a while to get there, and it was a bit hard to watch him trying to rush in for that knockout, because he got caught quite a few times. But when he hit that knockout shot there, 1-2, 1-3, whatever you call it. No, it's 2-3, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, yeah. 2-3, straight right hand, left hook. Beautiful shot. Beautiful, one of the most beautiful knockouts I've seen on Misfits. One of the most beautiful, I would put it top 10, top 20 knockouts in boxing I've seen. Like that, just not because of how damaged Temper was, or how he did it. It's just the movement. It was a clean, like, knockout. You would not expect it from that. That proved to me and to the world, and that kind of showed us that KSI is about it. He can box. He is ruthless. He's a good puncher. We all knew that. We all knew he had cardio, but people doubt his cardio now because he's been having shorter fights. But that proved to me KSI's in it, and that proved to me KSI Jake Paul, even though Temper was not on the level of the opponents Jake Paul beat at that time, like Anderson Silva and Tyron Woodley. But Temper's on the level of Ben Askren in boxing. Temper's way better than Nate Robinson in boxing. That showed me KSI's on the level of Jake Paul at that point. Obviously, the fight never happened from that, but because that clean knockout, that moment, seeing KSI get the win like that, incredible main event, even though it only lasted a round, I would pick that for the main event fight. I gave it a solid 8 out of 10. KSI is probably, I wouldn't say his best performance to date. His best performance to date is probably, even though he lost, is probably Tommy Fury. He lost, but only the judges will say he lost. Anyone with a pair of eyes who watched that fight knew KSI won that fight. Just so much more volume. People saying Tommy pushed the pace. KSI pushed the pace. 2 rounds apiece, going into the final 2 rounds, and, you know, depending on where you give the 5th round, fine. But the 6th round was definitely KSI's. Rounds 1, 2 and 6 were KSI. 3 and 4 were definitely Tommy. Let's say you give the 5th to Tommy, that's at most a draw. Especially with a point deduction. But you give... No. Tommy got a point deducted, right? Certified 3 rounds KSI. You give... Tommy had 3 and 4, right? But you give the 5th to Tommy. that should be a draw. But with a reduced point, KSI won that fight. So then, say you give the 5th round to KSI, that's 4 rounds to 2. KSI still wins that fight. So the fact that Tommy Fury won this round means that they had to have given 4 rounds to Tommy Fury, which means they've robbed KSI 1 of the rounds, because he definitely won 1, 2, and 6. Just saying. So yeah, but that was definitely KSI's best performance to date. So I have to give it an 8 out of 10, best fight of the card in my opinion. Just because of that knockout. In terms of actual scrappiness, Slim versus Nettie or Virgo or Taylor might be good, but they've got the same rating because they're both scrappy. One was a scrappy, like, dirty boxing, one was a scrappy, technical boxing. But KSI's knockout just tops everything on that card. When you think of that card, you think of that knockout. So thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will be back with ranking Misfits X Series 05. Goodbye.
So I just say less, yeah, non-stop, on job, say less. It's tweeting and talking, better mind that you're walking, say less. Sometimes give me the mic, but sometimes I gotta say less. It's too much talking around.